Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
How was the week? Interesting or boring?
Boring working days.
Boring? Kyun? Lot of
Some
assignments
college,
to do.
online classes, assignments.
So that's boring.
Yeah, ma'am.
Life outside has actually gone
Yes, ma'am.
completely bad. You are in Chandigarh, right?
No, ma'am. Currently, I am in Bareilly because of lockdown. Oh, ma'am.
Acha.
Online
Where are you from originally? Bareilly?
Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh.
All right. So everyone, could you do your assignment?
Ma'am, actually, I didn't attend the last week classes, and I was not, my health was not okay. Today only I'm feeling better. From yesterday, I was feeling better, so I couldn't do. And I was not knowing about the assignments, what assignment you give. So could you please just, tell me what all assignment you gave so that.
Yes, Prachi. What was the assignment?
Ma'am, you haven't given any assignment that day. You just asked for doing a research on job posting and all.
So did you do research on job posting?
What, ma'am?
Ma'am,
Little bit.
Okay. So Bushra, as you know, Prachi said that it was not really an assignment that I gave because two simultaneous classes going on for Saturday, Sundays, and then I am also taking. So I thought not to give you too much of assignments, but whatever assignments we have given in past for the same classes, right? I have told Anamika to jot it down and she will send it to me. Then I'll share it with all of you. So ensure that whatever topics we are covering, because these topics for other students have already been covered. So I don't want you guys to feel that you are not really going along with them. That's why we are completing these topics. So the assignments which we have already given last month in December to those people, what you can do is you can just take those assignments. I'll share the entire list I have with me, and then I'll put it in the group.
okay.
And then you guys can see. In case you have some questions on those assignment topics, you can discuss with me separately.
Okay, sure.
Maybe on a phone call or WhatsApp, whatever way you want to. So individually you can discuss in case you have to ask something. Right? Though generally all these assignments are related with topic that we are covering. So that's really not too much of difficulties. It's just to practice whatever you are studying so that you are in touch with the practical aspects of it. Right, because me lecturing, Hardik sir lecturing, then we'll bringing more lectures for you. I feel that too many lectures will not give that much of a practical exposure. So my assignments, we try to create in a manner that it gives you enough space to get that corporate feel. Right. So hopefully you guys will be able to adjust to that idea. All right, so the topic for today that we were discussing last week was a little bit of portion from talent acquisition was left, which was more majorly on how to do Boolean search on talent in talent acquisition. So I'll just share the video, sorry, the PPT. And apart from that, finishing that topic, what are we going to do today is we will just be covering interviews and selection. So in interview and selection, what are we going to do? Like this is what we discussed in the class in December also. You guys will have to interview each other. So we'll just finish quickly this Boolean search thing. A little difficult it is, a little mathematical. It comes from computer, Boolean search. Not many people in India still use this particular Boolean search. Only very highly technically trained recruiters use it. So you will take some time to get a hang of it. in a proper manner to use it, but it's not really that difficult. Once you get into the practice of doing it, then it will not be a difficult. So how this basic Boolean search work? It basically comes from few elements that we use as a string. String in the sense, in a sequence that we use certain words as well as certain symbols like not, or, and brackets and hyphen, right? So these are few things that we generally use. So for example, like in this particular slide, you can see an example is given that if you are looking for an environmental engineer, so how are you going to do research or search or rightly sourcing the right candidates for environmental engineering? When you go to Google, right? So let me show you practical experience, not here. Yeah, you can see this tab, right? So
Yes.
there, wherever you type URLs and etc. things, so what you can do is you can type Google. Let me just do a copy paste of it. Sorry, just give me a second, huh? I'll just open the right. Yeah, sorry. So suppose you want to search somebody on LinkedIn, right? So how are we going to use it? Go to this URL section where we generally put it. Suppose you are looking for an HR manager, right? For various locations. So this is how the Boolean search will look like. So we typed site in, site, SITE, column, in.linkedin, which is the name of the site. You can do it on any site. If you have Naukri portal, you can do it for Naukri. If you want to search on Google, you can search it on Google. On any platform where you want to source right kind of candidates for your job, you can easily put their name. Once you have put the name of linkedin.com, then you write HR, which is the major position that we are looking for. Then we use and, which is in capital. A&D and. Then you will write manager or executive in bracket. Again, or will be used. In capital. Then you will write bracket close. Then you will write A&D again in capital, which is to use experience or location. Then after that, in bracket, you will use Bangalore or Delhi if you are looking for multiple position. Then you will close the bracket again. Then you can write down the number of years of experience that you're looking at. So 3 years or 2 years. right? And close the bracket. So try doing it yourself. Till the time you won't do it, it will not be, practical experience of searching through Boolean research. If you look into this particular slide, this last line actually tells you how to use these particular jargons along with the symbols. So suppose we are looking for environmental engineer, how it is using in title, resume, or in title CV, environmental researcher or scientist. So you can use it directly on any of the platform which you are using where you have your database, or you can use it on LinkedIn, Google, Naukri, any job portals that's available, right? It will show you the right results. For example, हमने Boolean research डाल दिया यहाँ पर. If I now press enter, it will show us the results. So this is how all the people who are HR managers looking for job, all their names will come. Right? You can see their names. Rekha Rajendra, Success HR, Get for Solution, different kind of people and links are all opening. So you can write about the industry in which you are looking for, like you can see here, media or advertising, and then that's the reason why it is not showing. Always remember that and or should be in capital. That is why it is not showing the right. Then you can write Bangalore or Hyderabad. Then you can again write and in LinkedIn, because it's always a preference that you know those people who are in your network. So you can mention in converted commas that 3 to 4 years of experience. So 3.4 year or years. And then you search. Then comes the right number of people. So Sangeeta Nirikhi, Guru Nandani, Alaya Ashok, all these people you can see. So it is showing in my LinkedIn profile because from my LinkedIn, these people would be known to me, either direct known or maybe through somebody else. So once you will do the same kind of research on your computer, if you have a LinkedIn account, it will show totally different kind of results. So you can start doing that. If you want to try, just put this particular link, copy this link and do it on your Google search. You can read it. Or shall I copy paste it in the slide and then you can. It has not been copied. No. You can see this. Just make sure wherever you are using and, A and D, and in the bracket, if you are using or, all these things should be in capital. If and or is not in capital, that means it's not really completing the Boolean search. Right, this is how a string of Boolean research is actually being created. Right, try and do it in your computer. and let me know what are the results yours.
काम दे दिया उसको, काम दे दिया उसको। 50 रुपया जब भी ट्रेडिंग करेगा।
Ruchi, please keep yourself on mute. Lot of noise coming from your background. Hima, what is the result? Showing something on your computer? This is a string. I hope you can see this now. Prachi, what's the result? Hima, Bushra, Prachi, who is showing me results? सबके वीडियो हो गए.
Ma'am, I have tried, ma'am. Like I didn't have any LinkedIn account. It's showing like names and LinkedIn app.
Your voice is not coming directly, Hima. Lot of network issues. I'm not able to hear you. You can type your question on chat. Let me read it from there.
Okay.
Devansh, what's your results?
It's coming like this.
Same, ma'am.
You can see some names, right? Or you
Yes,
can't see
ma'am.
the names, right?
Ma'am, I
So
can
these
see,
are the
ma'am.
names, right? So these are the names because See, we have used this string, we have used you know. So you know means all the people you know on LinkedIn or you are directly or indirectly connected, it will show their names. So whatever names it's showing to me, it's not necessary that it will show to you,
Yes, ma'am.
right? Because there are multi-million users on LinkedIn. So the results can differ from one another. If we have common people in our group, if you are on my network on LinkedIn, or if I'm on your network, then it might show certain people who are connected together. But if we are not connected, then the results would be totally different from one another. And now if you want to change from LinkedIn, you can write google.com. So in google.com also will show you different kind of results altogether. So Google will help you in your search of looking into the sources, right? Most of the time, Boolean searches are generally used when you have a huge database available with you, like on LinkedIn or any of the portals, job portals. So it can be Naukri, it can be Shine, it can be Indeed, anything that you are using. So a lot of recruiters use this, and it's very helpful for the research, for the search. All right. So now very small assignment that you have till Friday is you have to create such strings for various positions, at least one or two different positions, not HR. Right. So like you can see in the string, first is the designation or the position that you're looking for. Then the second string basically is for industry. So suppose if you're hiring for FMCG industry or hotel industry, hospitality, whatever you're hiring for, so you can put that there. Then you can put location. So you can put different locations, Bangalore or Hyderabad, or if you want to add some more, then you can add Hyderabad or Delhi also. So whatever positions you want to do, within bracket, you have to use or to differentiate between positions or industries or designation. Outside the bracket, you have to use and to complete the string. That's what you have to remember. So three things which is very, very important for Boolean search strings are and in capital, or within the bracket, and the brackets. You have to close the brackets and you have to do that. Right? These are major things that you have to use. All right, so that's the thing that you'll have to use. If you have not understood this, let me know about it in detail so that we can give you this class again. People who are doing internship with us basically goes through this training for at least 15 days, because many people in HR also doesn't know how to do Boolean search properly. I also took this training from somebody, and that's how we got to know last 7-8 years. And the results coming from Boolean search for sourcing the right candidates are extensively very, very good. Right? So it's a very secret formula that I've told you today. You can try and check it out with a lot of HR professionals, still they won't know. All right, so let's come to the next topic, which is talent acquisition के अंदर. What we were discussing about last week is did my PPT go? A lot of things are open on my system. Just give me a second. I don't know why my screen is not opening. Yep. right? So we discussed about this particular cycle last week class. So we have spoken about almost all the things. So these are the functions of recruitment that's generally being taken care of by the organization, by the HR people in the organization. So the functions of recruitments are assessing recruiters, job design and development, which you have already done. Fixing standards means giving KRAs or KPIs to each of the tasks and responsibility. Then advertising and putting it in advertisements. Then making initial contacts with the prospective candidates. Then identification of right candidates. Then assessment, which can be interview and other things. Then shortlisting of probable candidates, calling the shortlisted candidates, selection by interviewing or taking test, then hiring the best candidates, recording all the documents, and fixing pay packages. So this is how your entire function of recruitment really works from end to start, right? From sourcing the right candidates to finalizing the one. Right. So now these are certain selection techniques that is being used by various recruiters to find out and identify whether the right candidate is being taken by the organization or not. Majority of the people will still use interviews for the selection, and with interviews, they generally try and use certain tests, which can be assessment test, psychological test, or aptitude test. Right. So what selection techniques actually help us in doing is assessing cognitive ability. What is cognitive ability? Quickly. What is cognitive? ऐसे ब्लैंक नहीं होते हैं ना. No idea what cognitive is? What does it relate to? So when we say we have to increase our cognitive abilities, we generally talk about our mental abilities, checking, whether how much we can actually learn from one person or whatever we have acquired in our mind, right? So our cognitive ability is basically our mental ability to seek knowledge or gain knowledge or acquire them in our mind, right? So that's what it is. So generally, selection techniques, whether interviews or tests, help us in finding the cognitive ability of a human being, right? For example, if you have written in your resume or your biodata that you have done some course in BioSci, so your cognitive ability, people will check in through asking questions that whatever you have studied during your course, right? Then evaluate learning agility. Learning agility is basically how well you can read and write and how much is your proficiency in learning something new, how much you can adapt to something new, and that's what we check. Then situational judgment test. Situational judgment tests are something very similar to critical incident method that we talked about in job analysis, right? Critical incident method means that we give you certain situation and then we will see that how exactly do you perform during those situations. It can be generally stress related situations where you have to take instant decisions, you have to solve a problem. So any such situation which is required for you to perform your job on a day-to-day basis, right? Then measure employee integrity. So whether an employee has good integrity, good honesty, they can really perform, be loyal to the organization, and they can perform all their duties ethically. It's really important to check whether this person has that kind of a capability or not. Then last is test job knowledge, right? So whether whatever you have mentioned in your CV, all those skills that you talk about, do you really have those skills or not? So some tests basically are taken on your job knowledge. It can be in oral test, it can be written, or it can be through online applications, right? So this is what selection techniques generally do. How people can actually test your thing is give a test work assignment. So आपको एक test assignment दे दिया that you have to take this home, like we do in our course very regularly, that we give you after we teach you something, then we give you an assignment so that we can check your knowledge whether you have really completed or you have understood the topic really well or not. Then second आता है assessment centers. Assessment centers, I think sir has already taken it up in the last week's class. So I'm not really going into the detail, right? So assessment test basically check your analytical skills, right? Along with how psychologically you are really healthy and you are ready to perform those tasks in the organizations or not. Again, assessment centers and assessment tests are generally run by people who have taken or acquired any certification or degree, diploma in that. Nobody, even an HR performing assessment center, will not give you the 100% correct result. So you have to acquire a specific techniques, because assessment centers use very specific techniques to find out how good the person's ability to do certain jobs are or not, right? So that's how generally it's been used. Then it helps you in structuring your interview process, because in interview process what happens is when you ask questions, so you, for to somebody who is a fresher or somebody who is going for the interview for the first time, it may look like that these question answer sessions are just happening, and so I just prepare, मैं रट्टा मार लेता हूँ, मैं लेती हूँ, and then I'll go and give the interview. But this is not how it happens. You will see many YouTube videos where people are telling you that these are the 10 questions which generally most of the interviewers ask, then these are the answers that you have to mug up. But this is not how a good interview process is structured. Somebody who is experienced in taking interview will give you this benefit that uh, every interview has a purpose and goal that somebody has to accomplish. So if you are taking an interview for somebody who wants to come and, like, Aramika is doing an internship with me. So how she has acquired this knowledge? First 2 days we gave her a complete session on how to do the calls. So she attended some calls done by us in our team, experienced people in the team. Then third day onwards, we gave her this opportunity that we are also on call. Now you call some people and we will check how you are actually assessing the entire thing. So to structure the interview process, we gave her a quick list of questions, and this is the question that she'll have to ask. But to my surprise, she actually gained this entire thing so quickly. She understood the entire process so very well that she asked certain questions which even we were not asking during the first round of interviews, right? So selection techniques can change from one person to another person depending upon your ability to take interviews on the very first go, right? Then conducting peer interviews. Many organizations use peers for peer-to-peer interview. What are peers? Any idea on what is this world all about? Who are peers?
Ma'am, people working with us.
Yeah, people working with us, and generally in the same category. I mean, in the same designation. People who we can call friends or colleagues, right? So they are not really senior to us, they are not junior to us. So peers are generally people in the organization with a similar kind of capacity and designation to work. So what many organizations also try to do is, because a person who is already in the organization know the task and responsibilities. So if they are looking for somebody else for that position, they include the peer interview. That one of your colleague is taking the interview, not your direct colleague, but in future that person can be your colleague, right? Then आता है आपका checking candidates reference. So after the interview and selection is generally over, another very important part of selection techniques is when people take and check your references, which can be your background verification, your qualifications, your work experience if you have. So checking it from your companies and the institutions you have studied. Another important selection technique is hosting a job trial day. That not really a very practical thing to do, but many organizations still believe that they ask you to come and join for a single day where they can evaluate whether you have understood the job clearly, well or not. And similar way, even a candidate can evaluate the organization that really organization's culture is matching with what I am looking for. Right? So that's a very good thing. So it's like a trial day on a job, whether you can really perform the task or not. This is the selection process. This is the flow of selection process that works well in many organizations. Number one is initial screening. So if you have passed, you will go to completely application. If you don't pass initial screening, to fail, so you become a reject applicant. So if you see a proper workflow really works, this is called a flow chart. A flowchart actually works in a really good manner when there is a yes and no, both the things are happening. So if you're passing the test after one another, एक step के बाद दूसरा step आप clear कर रहे हो, so that means you're passing and you're reaching the permanent job offer. If you're not passing, at every selection, every stage, there is a rejection which is happening. Right? So initial screening, you pass it, you go to completed your application. If that doesn't happen, then again you are rejected. Then next is employed test. It can be an interview or test or anything. Then again you pass, you go to comprehensive interview. If you fail, you become a rejected candidate. After comprehensive interview, your conditional job offer is given to you. Then your background verification happens side by side. Once your background verification you pass, your medical and examination happens. If that also passed, then you will get a proper appointment letter from the organization. Or else all these stages you get rejected also. Right? So this technique of recruitment and selection has majorly come from Indian military system, Indian Army defense system. That's when these things were actually being used initially. From there, it has come to or corporates and organization as a selection process. Many organizations call it scrutiny or rejection, rejecting applicants, because at every level, more rejections are happening than selection. Right? Then let's come to the interview. So the first point of selecting somebody is basically the interview. Whether you are taking it on the call to check whether their communication skills or the basic keywords references that they have mentioned in the resume is matching with the job description that you have. If you're not really doing that, then the entire process of recruitment or selection is not getting completed, right? So forms of interviews are basically divided into two categories: standardized and not standardized. Standardized are basically people where everything is in the form of very structured manner, right? All the questions are written down properly, the research is being done by the interviewer properly, everything. Non-standardized can again be divided into two parts: one-to-one and one-to-many. It can be face-to-face interviews, telephonic interviews, or internet using this kind of platform, Zoom, Skype, anything, any video conferencing. Then one-to-many can be group interviews where you are presenting it to many people, generally like campus interviews or in job fairs, right? That's how it's generally happened. Right? So now some interviewing skills, which is very important. This is from the perspective of when you are taking the interview, not giving the interview. So somebody, once you become recruiter or you are an HR professional, taking interview becomes a very integral part of your job function. So how you have to do is, number one is prepare well. You have to be very methodical. You have to show your care and politeness to the candidate who has appeared for the interview. Improve your judgment. So slowly when you start taking interviews, you start meeting so many different kind of candidates. So then your judgment automatically improves in terms of who to hire, who not to hire, right? Which we call, our intuitions or gut feeling. That actually tells us in advance कि ये बंदा ठीक नहीं है, but this girl is not really fitting the job. So we might really don't hire this person. And then last is learning from the mistakes. So you don't have to really worry. Every one of us makes mistake while taking interview. Even at this stage, after 20 years of almost taking interviews every second, third day, we still also make mistakes. So that's a part of the learning, because you can never know everything about the person or the resume. So sometimes smaller mistakes can also happen. So it's always a good thing that you take a note of everything that you are asking in an interview and take a very good note about it. Right? So how to be a good interviewer? These are things. Not really very clear picture. I'll try and change it. Yeah. But what it says is that you have to understand the hiring need. Right? That's how you become. So you have to be very, very crisp and clear about what kind of person you are actually looking for. Job description, specification, and the goal of your interview or the entire process should be very clear in your mind as a recruiter. Then you have to research good candidates. So you have to research about the candidates in advance, that who is coming to meet you for the interview, so that you are well prepared. You don't look like that you're reading the resume for the very first time. Then make a conversation, try and, because sometimes people who are coming for interviews are very nervous. So they have the butterflies in their stomach. They're really not feeling very confident. So as an interviewer, it's our first thing that we need to do is offer them a glass of water, coffee, or, start a very polite conversation, give them a compliment on their dress, anything, for that matter, to make them feel normal or comfortable. And then start the entire process of asking them questions. Then ask the right questions. So after you have done your politeness, you have made them comfortable, it's very important that your questionnaires are prepared in advance. You need to be very clear about what kind of questions I'm asking, right? Over a period of time, you don't really have to write it down. You will start remembering the things because it will become a regular thing for you. But initial few months, it's always good. And that too also because you're using different kind of techniques for interview. Also, you would be interviewing for different kind of positions. So it's very important that you do the research, write down the questions, ask some technical questions which you can understand, and rest leave for the division heads or department heads to ask. Then learn to read body language. It's very important because your body language conveys so many things which your words will also not convey, right? Like you are getting bored in an interview, you are continuously fidgety with the things. आपके हाथ में keychain है, you are playing with that, you are playing with your hair, you are playing with your phone, you are looking at your watch again and again. So your body language conveys so many things. So it's very important that you also read their language and you also learn to ensure that your body language is not conveying something wrong, right? Then take notes. Very important for an interviewer is take notes of everything that you are asking so that you don't forget. So suppose you have 10 interviews in a day and you don't take notes. It gets very difficult that you will not be able to remember at the end of the day what all 10 people talked about. Right? So whether it is about their salary, their work experience, what are the projects they have worked on, we generally will not be able to remember after the entire day is over. So it's always good that either you take notes on the resume if you have the copy of the resume, or maybe in a diary or journal anywhere. Right. Next is sell the job. So it's very important that you should understand the job really well, so that once again it's an opportunity that you try and sell the job to the person in a proper manner. That means you are not overselling. Don't lie about that this work responsibility, because sometimes candidates who have come, they ask different kind of questions, totally different kind of questions, and then instead of answering the questions rightly, what interviewers tend to do, especially the new recruiters, what they do is they oversell the company. They try and say lies about कि नहीं work culture is really good, 8 घंटे की जो job है, 10 hours नहीं लगेंगे. So various kind of things generally people say lie about. So it's always good that you sell the job authentically, whatever it is, tell in advance, so that the person who is joining your company should be very well prepared in their mind that they have to join this kind of an organization. Right? Be fair. Like I said, you have to sell the job. So be authenticated and be fair. Whatever you're selling, your company, ultimately, you are going to make an impression, because it happens that you become the first representative of the company which the candidate has met. And the candidate will always share very good relationship with you throughout. Till the time you are in the organization and they keep seeing you in the organization, there would always be very good relationship between you and the candidates you have hired in the organization, no matter which department, how senior, how junior, they will always respect you. That, unsaid respect will always be there. So it's very important that you always be very fair and very kind to them. Right? Last is provide closure. So whether the person has been selected or rejected, it's always beneficial that we tell them in advance that what kind of results which has come, right? Because people would be expecting, like if you go for the interview for the very first time, you will also keep waiting that kab aayega jawab, whether we have really cleared the interview or not. It's not about the selection or rejection, it's more about the closure that we get. So it's very important as an interviewer to keep a rapport, a line of the company with the candidate, to give them proper closures, right? So now the slide says face-to-face interviews. So let's have a quick round of interviews for all of you. You can close down your all copies, pens, and Open your videos. And don't look sleepy. Interviewers are never sleepy. All right. So who wants to take the first interview? Who wants to become the HR manager and start taking the interview? Nobody? How will that work?
Ma'am, may I?
Yeah, please. Anybody. So Bushra wants to take the interview. So
Ma'am, whom should I ask?
Hema. Hema is your first candidate.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, Hema.
Hi, Bushra.
Tell us something about yourself.
Mm. Hi, Bushra. I'm Hima. I'm a practicing chartered accountant. I live in Guntur, Andhra Pradesh.
Okay, so what do you think? What made you sit here? What made you think that this job can be for you? What made you think that?
My more interest is towards like my strength is like hardworking. Like I like to do some desk work related. So I took the job. I selected this mathematics finance related. So
Okay.
uh, I'm interested.
Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
That's all. Just two questions.
Ma'am, I have a lot of questions, Magar.
It's okay. So ask questions. Who is stopping you?
Okay, ma'am. So, what are your abilities which makes you different from other candidates, and like the skills you have that make you capable of this job and not the others?
Everyone has different abilities. One like they differ, but we can't tell this he has or she has this ability, he is suited for this job. We can't, like, they can improve if they don't have this ability also through some training, or they can improve. Regarding my thing, I think that more hardworking nature or ability to learn something new daily. I That's it.
Okay, so don't you think that if we invest our time making you learn something new, our time will be getting will be getting lacking behind from our competitors? Don't you think so?
What? Come again? I didn't get the question.
You are saying that you feel good in learning new things, in experiencing new things. So don't you think that we would lag behind if we invest our time in making the candidates learn new things or new experiences? What do you say about this?
It's not time waste, but only regarding professional thing only we can develop. We can't say no. We can learn many other things relating to personal life. Even if does not help much related to professional work, it might help in uh, like personal life. We can learn many things. I personally feel that.
Okay, done, ma'am.
Yeah, very good. Good question.
Thank you, ma'am.
So who wants to become HR next? Prachi? Yeah, Divansh, very good. All right. So Divansh will be the interviewer and he is going to interview Bushra.
Hello, Bushra. How are you?
Devansh, hello.
I am Devansh, HR executive. So here I'm going to take your interview. So first, tell me about yourself.
Hello, Devansh. I'm Bushra Siddiqui from Varanasi, UP. I'm pursuing my studies from Banaras Hindu University as a sociology student, and I have done my internship from many NGOs, and I'm interested in HR because that was the HR was the main reason I took sociology as a subject. Not directly it is related to HR, but it is somewhere or the other it is related to HR, and I think that makes sense. And yes, I am interested. My hobbies, you can say, are I bake. I bake. I am good at baking, and I'm a hardworking person. And I'll not say that I know everything, but yes, whatever thing I know, I think I am good in that, and I can do good to the organization as well.
Okay, Bushra, well answered. My next question
Thank you.
is, why should we hire you for this position?
Um, Sir, I think what I think is I may lag behind in theoretical knowledge because I have not I'm not from an IIM institute. I have done an marvelous MBA, but what I think is necessary for the real world is how capable are you in the job. You cannot just put all the theories you have studied in an institution, and the work may go on. That's not the thing. The employee should be work addict. He should know, or she should know what he actually has to do, and how can he make that activity much better. And I think I have that quality in me. I can do an activity in a much better way with experimenting things and learning new things.
Okay, so my next question is, what motivated you in your life to do well?
Mm, to do an HR.
Yeah, मतलब motivate क्या करते हैं?
uh, See, I'll tell you the whole story, that which is true. I was in 11th, and I had commerce as my stream. So ma'am was teaching HR related chapters, and from there only I had a feeling कि यही करना है, कि ये अच्छा है. So that was something. And then HR, when I grew up and studied more about HR, I thought that I think that it make people bind together and work together in a more convenient manner, which I think is makes HR a most special department. uh, with and it makes it differentiates from this from other department. Other departments are more technical in terms, but not HR deals with humans, and I am an introvert, and I love I love people. I love conversating with people. So yeah, that's what make motivates me to be an HR. I love
Okay, nice
dealing with
answer.
people.
So my last answer is, um, mm, you can handle the work under pressure.
uh, Under pressure, yes, of course I can handle, because uh, multitasking is something which from time to time you learn. As a student, you can do multitasking is what which differentiates you. एक second. Multitasking. Okay, so can you please repeat the question?
मतलब I mean to say that under pressure you can work. Can you
See,
handle work under pressure?
under pressure, yeah. For now, if you ask for now, then yeah, might be I can be not that good in working under pressure, but of course from time as time will pass, I'll definitely learn in working under pressure.
Thank you, Bushra.
Thank you, Devansh.
Very good answers. Good, Prashra. Good,
Thank you.
Devansh. Good questions.
Thank you.
But our HR is looking very lethargic today, you know. When you are taking interview, like you just read it in the PPT, it's very important that we look, our body language should look very, very impressive. Right? For HR, it's always like that, being in HR is all about your presentation. That means as a person, how you're conducting yourself, how well groomed you are, and how your body, what do you call it, vibes of the body should look very positive. See, because the energy that you will throw, the same energy you will get from the candidates, right? So your enthusiasm in your candidates will help you acquire very good candidates for your organization, right? So that's always important.
And sometimes I got panic, ma'am, if someone asks question.
Exactly, ma'am. Ma'am,
That happens with us also. After 20 years, if you tell me right now that you want to interview me, I will still feel a little nervousness, right? Because I'm not prepared. You just asked me suddenly that you will ask me questions. So that nervousness is all part of the entire process, but your nervousness should calm down over a period of time. See, one thing, that authenticity plays a very important role. So what you have written down in your resume, and you know all of this. So that nervousness is just the first time meeting that you are having with somebody, right? After that, when they start asking questions, because you are so thorough that you, whatever you have written down, you know it already. So then it will not really give you any confusions. Nervousness, it's all right, perfectly fine. It can happen to anybody. I am a public speaker from last 10, 11 years. Still, whenever I go on stage, I speak in front of 200, 300 people. I still get nervous, right? So that's part of life. That will always happen. Right?
Okay,
But
ma'am, thank you.
how good you can overcome it? Do a lot of, there are relaxation techniques, counting 1 to 10, taking deep breathings. Very lot of relaxation techniques are there. So practice them, and then your nervousness will go away. All right. So who will go next? Hima, now you want to be an interviewer? Ask questions to Prachi.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hi, Prachi. Tell
Am
me
I
about
audible?
yes, you're
Am I
audible.
audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
yes.
audible.
Tell me about yourself.
Ma'am, may I ask one question before the interview?
Sure, please.
Ma'am, suppose someone is interviewing me. Suppose I am an HR recruiter. I am going to take an interview of someone, and the person uh, for who about wait, the person I'm taking the interview of is someone elder to me.
Mm-hmm.
Is
It
someone
will
elder
happen.
to me.
It
So
will always happen.
yeah, so yeah.
Yeah.
So how will I address them? Like, as a recruiter, I should supposed to like manage my position as well, but at the same time we should supposed to respect them. So how will we address them?
You can address them as sir and ma'am, not an issue, right? Instead of taking their name. See, again, it depends upon culture to culture, right? Many organizations which are US based or Germany based really do not have that kind of a culture where you have to take, say, sir or ma'am, even if they are senior to you in position also, not just age. So still we used to call them by name, and that's how the culture of the organization. Indian culture means still people prefer calling sir or ma'am. It gives them much more respect. They feel that it gives them much more respect. So Indian culture, you can call them sir and ma'am, not an issue.
Yes.
Tell me about yourself, Prachi.
Hello, Hima. I am Prachi Pranavi Ghosh, and right now I am pursuing my graduation from Vasant Kanya Mahavidyalaya, and I'm just a graduate student, and I'm taking a part in this course and learning with you all.
What are your future goals?
Thank you for asking this, but I have not decided yet as such. But yeah, after pursuing my graduation, I'll go for MA, and I'll give entrance exam for that. That's it.
Like, what are the like procedures or things how to develop those goals? How will you achieve? What are your how do you achieve them?
First of all, as per I know that I am a good listener, and I'm good if I work hard. So, according to me, hard work is very important to pursue whatever I want to do.
That's all, ma'am.
That's all?
That's
All right. Prachi wants to become the HR now, and you take interview of
Yes,
the
ma'am.
launch.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can I take may I take an interview in such a manner that like I am an HR recruiter and I'm taking an interview as a in an organization?
Yeah, that's how we have to do.
Okay.
Yep, carry on. 3-4 good questions.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, Devansh.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. It's nice to meet you here. How are you doing?
I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm good too. I hope you are comfortable here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we can proceed with the interview. So my first question to you is that what are you doing in your life right now?
Currently, I am doing a course of Bachelor's of Science in Hotel Management from AHM Chandigarh and Master Certificate course from Young Skill India in Human Resource Management. Apart from this, I am applying for internships on Internshala, seeking for it.
Okay. As you already know that our organization is here to hire for hiring of people. So why should we hire you in our organization?
Since
What
I am
makes you different from
okay,
what
since
makes
I
you
am a
different?
fresher,
Yeah.
since I am a fresher, I am learning about things as I am pursuing the course of Human Resource Management from Young Skill India. So it taught me many things, many technicals and practical knowledge they gave me. So I just want a platform where I can apply that, and I have some soft skills which can help your company. And if you assign me some work, I will give you that on time. That's all.
Okay. And what do you think? What do you think are the essential things required for a particular position, whatever it is? What are the 3 things required for a particular job to play well, to do well?
I think the concentration, mental state, uh, and the communication skills is very important, and technical skills related to that field.
Yeah. And what do you think about interrelation with other colleagues?
Interrelation with
Is
other
it
colleagues. Yeah.
colleagues? Let me. What do you think about interrelation with other colleagues, and what do you think that it is important to make good relations with your colleagues, or it is just okay that you won't?
No, being an HR, I think we should coordinate with our colleagues. It is good to coordinate with our colleague as we can get to know more things from them. Um, we will be able to know what they are doing, what they do with their colleague employees. मतलब, we will gain knowledge from them also.
Okay, thank you so much, Devansh, for giving the interview.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So see, you are getting to know the art of asking questions. But then what is the science behind asking these questions? So let's take these questions that you have from each other, right? So first question is why, or maybe, tell me about yourself. In every place you go, or, any interview that you actually encounter, The first question generally people ask is either take me through your CV or talk about yourself, introduce yourself, or tell me more about yourself. So, that question is common. So why do you think that somebody is asking you that question?
To know that he has given the right information.
Okay. What else?
To get to know about your overall personality, overall character.
Right. Very good. Why did you ask this question? Because you already knew that this question has been asked so many times by so many people.
As an HR, communication skills matter, so he can he can check his communication skills.
Right. Very true. Right. So see, it's a very simple thing that tell me something about yourself is something that the interview is expecting that you as a candidate would be aware about. Right? Something that you have thoroughly known about, what are you studying, what you have studied in past, who are in your family, all these basic questions. So one, it cuts down the entire nervousness. It brings you to the point where you are very comfortable dealing with the interviewer, right? So that's the reason why it is the first question. Second, like Devant said, it's very important to check the communication skills of the person. So one thing that you have written down in your CV about yourself, still somebody wants to know from you in your interview word to word that what exactly you have done. So that means they are checking something more important about you, which is your presence of mind, your communication, and whether you have authentically written down everything that you're speaking to. Right? So how you have to answer this question, tell me about yourself, is in the same manner like most of you have done. So right, tell me more about yourself is about what you have done exactly. Right? So you can start with telling about brief introduction, from which place you belong, what you have studied, and then one or two things about the challenges that you have encountered in your diet. So maybe some funny incident, which can be funny, which can be talking about your achievement indirectly, maybe in a college where you have been a part of the community, right? You were organizing some event, you failed, but then you overcome that failure. Something, anything that is talking about you in a very different manner than the other candidates, right? Whosoever has given a very different kind of an answer to me in their interviews, majority of the time that person has been selected in the interview. Also, that person had really played very well in the organization, right? That's the kind of skills that I have learned over a period of time, right? So it will improve your judgment in terms of what kind of skill set that person carries. Suppose you have encountered a challenge, right? Maybe as a part of the community in organizing some event or doing something for your organization, maybe as a part of placement committee, anything, right? So you had gone out, met somebody, the meeting did not really fare well, but still you did encounter that particular challenge. You gave the solutions to your institution, or you helped your colleagues or friends, anything for that matter, right? So just try and bring in one or two incidents which can actually talk about your personality as who you are. So if it's about Devansh, then about Prachi, Bushra. So how your personality differs from the other six candidates, it should talk about that. Right? So tell me about yourself. Mein kya kya rahega? Your introduction, a brief about your profile, qualifications, or if you have work experience, then about work experience. Other than that,
From where you belong.
yeah, from where you belong. If they ask specifically about your family background, then you can talk about your family background. Otherwise, tell me about yourself, but you don't have to really talk blabber about your family members, right? That what they do and what they do not. If the HR is more interested to know about your family background, they generally ask this question, right? So try and indulge the interviewer in a manner that you look very, very confident to the person. Then another question that comes in interview is, why do you think you are fit for this position? So what kind of answers do you think would be really good for assessing the knowledge? Okay, if I am the interviewer, I'm asking you this question to all of you. What makes you fit for this position? What would your answer be?
Ma'am, I would say that I'm very practical in nature. I know how to handle things practically with applying some of the theoretical knowledge, but logical reasoning is which which comes first in real world. So I'm very practical person, and this makes me different from others.
Okay. So you are going to talk about your practical experiences and your practicality. Very nice. What do you think the interviewer wants to know from you in this question? That why are you fit for this position? What is the purpose behind that? See, if you become an interviewer or you are the HR recruiter, then this question always comes with a purpose. That you're asking this question so that you can analyze how this person differs from the other persons who have come for the interview, right? Because for a job position, there are always more than one applicant, or there are chances that you might interview different candidates for one position. So you have to, as an interviewer, you have to keep your criteria very clear, that if I'm asking this question, what is the purpose of me asking this question? So that criteria should be very well written down somewhere, or maybe in your mind, that these are the three abilities or these are the three skills that I'm looking at apart from the job knowledge and functions, right? Which can be your adaptability to learn, which can be related to, how good this person is in handling stress, or if my organization's culture is all about getting comfortable, knowing your task, multitasking, and all these things. So totally depending upon what your organization is all about, you can actually define the purpose of this question, right? That's as an interviewer. Now, as an interviewee, how you are going to answer this question is only by doing research about the organization. If you have not done the right research about the culture of the organization, it would be very difficult for you to answer this question in a right manner, right? So it's always preferable that when you are going for the interview to an organization, try and speak to the employees who are working there. Not speaking, maybe you can find them on internet, you can just try and get in touch with them and see how is their response, how they have enjoyed over the period of time in the organization. Then you can prepare this as question, that why I am more suitable for the position. So you can answer that apart from my skill set, which is my qualification and knowledge, I am really prepared, culturally oriented to the organization in terms of my personality matches with the requirement of the organization, right? So you can talk specifically about your characteristics in matching the cultural orientation of the organization, right? So that's there. So every question as an interviewer we prepare, we generally try and fix it with a purpose or a goal, that what exactly are we looking at. That's when it becomes structured interview. Otherwise, if you're just doing a formality of asking a question because as an interviewer you need to look like that you know something, then there is no point doing interview. Then you can just send the questionnaire, take the answers, and then you are done, right? So when you are, because uh, when you are asking the questions, it's very important that everything that is there in your mind, it should relate with some conclusion. You should have that bar, that standard really, really ready with you, right? Now, second tip when we are conducting interviews or we are giving interviews is really important is, how do you communicate your expectations in an interview? How do you do that? So suppose you are the recruiter. So now you have to give your expectations to the candidate. How are you going to do that? What are the questions that you will ask? Expectation in terms of what are you expecting from that candidate? Think about it. It's not that difficult. You have already asked those questions in the interview.
And we can give them situations.
Very true. You can give them situations. And you can relate those situations with your organization.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? That this has happened, or this often happens in my organization.
Ma'am, our organization is very busy, and so, ma'am, he can ask that if an organization is very busy, so how you will able to manage the thing on the daily basis.
Correct. Right. So, this expectation setting is very, very important. Like Devan said that, your questions should come across in a situation-based thing. Like we do case studies in MBA. Yeah? In this course also, we will be doing a lot of case studies. I'm not sure whether sir has given you or not, but my classes comes with a lot of case studies, right? I think the last batch that we did, there was almost case study every week. Hardly there was any presentations, right? So case study is really important. What is case study all about? Case study says that this situation has already happened.
Analyzing
Right
the
now.
situation.
Right. So now you are analyzing this situation as a new person partner of the organization. And how do you analyze this particular case or this situation? What kind of solutions you will bring so that it can be different from the others, or maybe matching the solutions that we already had. Right. So this case study assessment or these situational based assessments is very, very important, and it actually tones down the expectation setting from the interviewer side and from the interviewee side who is giving the answers. Right? You can specifically know that what kind of personality this person carries, what kind of person he or she is, whether they are capable enough to fine tune. See, nothing is always black and white. Right? There is nothing that यही question है और उसका यही answer होगा. There is always some gray matter in between, right? That gray matter is that there can be indefinite different kind of solutions to one problem, right? How I solve my problem, it's not necessary that Prachi or Bushra will also solve their problems in the same manner, right? Maybe in certain situation I panic, but in some situation Prachi has more impressive determination or dedication to handle that problem, and Bushra might have something totally different than us. So that's when it shows your personal skills and that competency and thing that we have talked about, how your personality's competency can change the entire situation is what the interviewer is looking at. Right? So in simpler terms, expectation setting kar rahe hain hum as per the position. Why we choose so imagine that suppose we are looking for one HR executive role for one company. Now for one HR executive, if you post a job, you will get at least 30-40 good CVs. Out of those 30-40 CVs, you still have to select one candidate. And why do you think the interview would be able to select one candidate? Do you think all 29 or 39 other candidates may not have that kind of skill set? Why we come down to one?
Ma'am, in interview we get to know that the other person, how is he presenting himself, because resume से और बाकी सारी चीजें तो पता चल जाती हैं, that his qualification, his knowledge, his hobbies, everything. But how he present himself and how he tackle things, we'll get to know through interview only. So it might happen that other person may be from a good institution and from a very high institution, but the person who is selected is very good in handling things and very presentable, so he might be given priority over that person.
Absolutely.
He may be different from other candidates. He has more skills.
Everybody will have skills. See, sometimes what happens is interviewer is looking for something very specific in candidates in terms of, related to the position. And because that person is also internally from the organization, so this person knows the organization very well. That's why I always say that whenever you are going for an interview, research about the company really well, so that you know and be able to talk about very specific people, maybe specific culture, or something that you have read about them on internet. Remember those things. So the moment you will talk about as a new brand ambassador of the organization, the chances are that you will always differentiate from others. Right? I have seen many people, many senior people, and like, Bushra is saying that a lot of top institution people, even they fail the interview purely because they feel overconfident that they are from top institute. They know everything about the job and positions and everything. So they try and oversell themselves, right? And just show their overconfidence in the entire process. So it's always very important that as an interview, you write down the expectation that from this question, what are the 3 skills that you are looking at? Simple, in a very simplified manner, right? And then you match which person has answered the closely so that the skills matching is happening. It's similar to competency mapping that we do, right? So you write down against every question that you want to ask. So suppose you are asking 10 questions. So against every question, you write down 3 competencies that you're looking for in the person. Right? There can be a repetition of competencies, but still you write down. And then you rate them. So suppose 5 people have come for the interview. Every question में उन 3 competencies में कितना fair किया. Right? On the scale of 1 to 5. Very easy thing to do. Right? That will help you find out which person is more skilled, more preferable for the organization that you are. Then the next tip that comes is that it's very important that before the person comes for the interview, anybody whosoever comes for the interview, you have studied their resume very well, right? As an HR recruiter. And not just gone through their resume very well, you have highlighted certain areas in their CV that this is the area that I want to ask more questions about. Right? That will show the candidate that you are more interested, that the interviewer is more interested in me. So for example, work experience where somebody has written down about their task and responsibility they have handled. So you just, highlight that area in their CV, and whenever they come, you ask questions related to that. Right? So that's one thing that as an interviewer you can do, and it will present you as a more experienced, more structured kind of a person. Then आता है last में about the nervousness that we were talking about, right? So how do you think that the nervousness means that the person is not really knowledgeable, or they do not have the potential? Will you rate that person?
No, ma'am,
that
not
manner?
actually.
Why will you not do that? What is the reasons? Because you also feel nervous, right? That is why you do it.
Ma'am will see all the factors, like he's giving first time he's giving any interview, and the environment is also new, so it's like way too normal to be nervous, and then that too for an interview for the first time. So we'll think that it's a normal thing, but if it's in a very high rate and it's not decreasing from the passing time, then it's a problem.
What else?
Ma'am, maybe he had some bad experience in past, or like that can be a point.
So see, nervousness, like we just said, that nervousness is a good thing. It can happen. But when you feel that the person is not just nervous, but not sounding very sure about what they are saying. Specifically, if you have asked certain questions related to their work experience, their qualification, or any specific incident that has happened in their life, during their work life, right? So people would come across nervous by, maybe आवाज कांप रही होगी, या they will not be able to concentrate on the entire thing. But then whatever would be coming out of their mouth, all the words would be correct. Because nervousness does not mean that we don't know our jobs. Right? Nervousness के sign कुछ और होते हैं, पसीना आ जाता है, you may have butterflies, थोड़ी सी कपकपी आ जाती है, but it really doesn't mean that I am not really sure about the skills that I carry. Right? So you have to peculiarly see for those signs which clearly shows that it's not nervousness, but it is lack of potential in the person. Right? Over the period of time, slowly, by practically experiencing or by practical exposure, you will be able to get to know the difference between when the person is nervous and when they are lying or they are not really prepared for the interview. Right? That will come across very, very openly. Right? So that's the difference that you will have to find out. And how you can find out again is by asking questions related to the highlighted area that you have already researched in their CV. Right? So ask them specific question about any work experience, anything from that work experience. That if person has really worked on that thing that they have written down as a responsibility, so then he or she will be able to easily describe that. Right? So if they are not able to describe that, that means they don't know. They've never done this. They have just copy pasted their resume from somewhere. And in 60% cases, this would be the chance that person has done that. And that's when you actually analyze and see, you assess the person's capability, that this person doesn't really know things, right? And what will happen if you get to know that the person doesn't know things that he has written down, he or she has written down in their CV? What will you do? Will you reject that person outright, or you will give them a chance?
You will give them a chance.
Why will you give them a chance? What is the reason?
Because if he is capable of doing that skills that he hasn't mentioned there, so it's beneficial for their company and organization.
Right. Okay. Anybody else who wants to say about this? Will you give that person chance who is maybe lying or not really honest about the things that they have written in their CV?
Ma'am, I think I won't give the chance because, lacking in some skill is different and lying is something different, and lying will, आगे चल के that will not be beneficial for my organization or for the working environment of other employees. So I think I would not give him another chance.
Good. So we have two different perspectives here. Anybody else who wants to counter that? Prachi, Hima, Ruchi?
Ma'am, we have like interview session, group discussion, we have some process, no ma'am. Like one stage, if you feel nervous in group discussion, if he is able to speak, then in one process, if he feels nervous, like in interview stage, is through HR manager, if you feel nervous to talk to him, like why he's interviewing, then group discussion, he's able to do good.
Very true. Very good answer.
If he's lacking in group discussion also, then it
yes,
might
because
not
generally, very good. Key selection process has various things through which we can check the authenticity of the person. It's not just interview. So if he or she is not been able to clarify on some points, so like Devan said, we might give them another chance, because then we might conduct a technical test or a functional test or aptitude test to see whether this person may be lying or maybe not really able to describe the thing that they have done because of lack of confidence, not really sure what to say. Different kind of things can happen. So don't rely on one particular method of taking interview. Always, it's very important that you apply a combination of things, right? Even one interview is also not held in an organization. There are always 2 or 3 different rounds, which happens, right? Additionally, with a group discussion or any other selection technique. Right? It can be assessment center, it can be aptitude test, it can be psychometric test and other things. In Friday's class, what are we going to do is I'll give you certain examples of aptitude test online, right? Okay. So that you can get an idea that what kind of aptitude test basically can be introduced through interview process, or how you can actually clear your interview out there. These are real-time tests which has been conducted by many sites. I'm sure sir ने भी बताया, I think डिस्क प्रोफाइलिंग के बारे में, he was telling me. डिस्क प्रोफाइलिंग के बारे में पढ़ा होगा परफॉर्मेंस मैनेजमेंट में. So though it is not really related to performance management, disc profiling is more used as a tool for assessing a candidate's skill set.
And psychological tools, I guess, under that.
Yeah, psychological tools. So not really psychological. Disc is more about personality, how your personality comes out to be. Right?
Okay.
Talks about 4 aspects of your personality, which is DISC. And there are many questionnaires which are available if you want to find out how you can actually do good, what kind of personality you have. So there are free tests of disc profiling. I think 123test.com has. So try
Okay.
and do that. No? It's www.123testing hai ya test hai, something like that. 123test.com. So it has a disc profiling test. I'll try and search and send the link. I think हमने last batch में किया था. So I'll send you that link. Try and perform that thing and answer honestly, because it's all psychological questions which is related to your personality. So the more honestly you will answer those questions, the more your personality will come out. So if you are more dominant, it will tell you about. And it's 123test.com. Yeah. So 123test.com pe go for disc profiling test. That will give you a lot about your personality, and it will tell you that either you're dominant, whether you are more communicative in your personality, you are more social, so the various aspects of your personality it will show. And some or the other way, it shows really, really a good perspective. So it can actually help you in designing your career also. We use it for career coaching for students. Right? So for example, if you are more dominant, what kind of careers you will select, so you will become more successful. So if you are more sociable, what kind of careers, it will give you an option that these are the certain careers where you can actually perform really well in future, right? So disc profiling is really helpful in terms of identifying your personality, what's your career set or career path, which would be more successful for you. And some organization use it for interviewing also, so that they can see whether the job that they have and your personality matches with this or not. So similar to this, there are many such tools, more than thousands, various different tools which can be used for. Right? So we'll give you certain examples. In fact, 123test.com ke andar you have all kind of psychometric test, aptitude test, and they're all free. So you can at least try 10s of them, 20s of them, no matter how much. At least try each one of them. Okay. And then you will get to know ki kya personality hai, kis tarike ke questions aayenge, because most of the organization use these kind of aptitude tests for selection. So it will give you a good idea about that. Right? So that's all about interviewing today. And rest we will do in the next class. What are the topics left? I think it's now about what are the group interviews, how to conduct group interviews. And then some techniques of interviews that we will do on Friday class. And then next week, I think Wednesday would be our last class.
Okay.
For these extra classes, induction and orientation.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, the assignment you gave will have to screenshot whatever comes on the screen, or how we'll have to send you that assignment?
Which one?
Ma'am, that Boolean research.
Boolean research, don't send me what the result is. Send me the strings that you create for any 2 positions.
Okay.
Don't send for HR manager, send for any other 2. And choose your own industry. Choose the number of years of experience on your own. Choose the designation. So I want to see whether you can create the complete string or not.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, we have to mail.
Mail it. Everything has to be mailed. Mail will keep a record how many assignments I have received. Right. And in the meantime, I'll try and send all the assignments. And I think Anamika has created the list. She might have posted it also. So I'll share the list of all the assignments that I have given in December.
Okay.
So you can check with Sakshi, I mean, all these students who have attended the class regularly. They will help you in their assignments. Right, I'll give you the name of the assignments and the questions that we have posted.
Sure, ma'am.
All right,
Okay.
that's all. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
being
Good
there.
night,
See you
ma'am.
on Friday. Good
Thank you,
night.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night, ma'am.
Take care, Ruchi. Your voice, I thought you will not be able to speak. That's why I was not asking questions to you.
Yes, ma'am. Today, actually, not.
This weather is like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So every one of us have gone through this particular thing. In fact, I also felt that I had got corona, but thankfully it was not. It was
No,
just
ma'am,
a flu. Yeah. Yeah, it's sounding so bad. Take rest. Health is more important than anything.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, and good night and take care
Good
of you.
night. Yeah, take care.